Follow your heart, says Disney. Pissney, I should say. Follow your heart means do what thou wilt, the satanic law. Now, it's not always wrong to do what you want. Right now I'm doing what I want. I'm following my heart. But the idea here is not just follow your heart, but rather this is the most important thing to do. This is the message, that this has priority number one. That's when you come into problems, because every criminal follows their heart. So there's a problem with this prioritization implicit in Pissney propaganda of the devil. Do what thou wilt. So here is a son and a father. The son is reasonably upset. Let's not say upset. He's pissed off. What if I told you, you can do whatever you want. Do as thou wilt. Yes, liberate yourself from the shackles of guilt and just lie that it's alright to be a brat. Yes. Disney and such, because not just Disney, but Disney is the main machine I'm going to focus on here, propaganda machine. They tell you to be a brat, and now only a liar would deny that, or someone who hasn't even seen one of the Disney movies and judges superficially, says, oh look, it's a happy mouse, so it's a happy thing and it's pure innocent and it's perfectly good for children. No, it isn't. It's shit. I grew up with Disney and I was a brat. Disney wasn't necessary for me to be a brat, but it certainly contributed by showing me examples of how not to behave. And it also said that in the end, it was alright, everything turned out well in the end. So it's alright to be a brat because you're going to turn out well in the end is the message. The door is locked, says Pan, aka Satan. Actually, no, he didn't say that. This susceptible, gullible, manipulated girl, young woman, says that in this movie. In that case, create your own door. The first time I saw this in a movie, I was like, hey, that's a great idea. That's cool. I like that idea. But no, because if you look at the context, the gist is rebel against your father, rebel against your mother, rebel against authority. Why? Just do it. So in Narnia, the Chronicles of Narnia, which are supposed to be Christian, but no, they're not. They're full of witchcraft and satanic shit. Here you see a forbidden thing that she's going to go through, this wardrobe. And her name is Lucy, which is a reference to Lucifer, which means light bearer, which is relevant not just for the fact that it's associated with Satan, but also because there's a literal light pole here in the middle of nowhere where these two meet, these two being Lucy and Lucifer, or the has-been Lucifer, because Satan is now just a fallen angel who masquerades as an angel of light. He pretends to be the bearer of light, not really anymore. He has the fire of a certain fire of power, but not the fire of knowledge that he retains because he's the father of lies. He retains darkness, which is in fact nothing, but I'm digressing as always. So anyway, here's Mulan, which is riddled with satanic shit and subliminals. I could do a video on this, but I am trying to wrap up my presence on YouTube. However, this is a very important video to make. If it helps at least one person to not corrupt their children, then it's worth doing. Mulan. If you haven't seen this, the Chinese Empire or kingdom is calling for men to join the army, drafting them, and this guy's old, so his daughter Mulan doesn't want him to fight because he's very vulnerable and easy to kill, etc. Which is understandable, that's nice. Her intention is good. It's perfectly fine, your intention, Mulan. But then you usurp his authority and tell him what to do. You can't do that, bitch. So she brought shame upon the family. Disney depicts this. However, Disney does not condone of shaming her for this. Disney celebrates her rebellion and depicts it as a glorious thing. So here they argue at the table later on, at dinner I guess. Yeah, at dinner. And as they're eating dog, I'm kidding. I ate dog by mistake once here in Asia. Anyway, as they're eating, she's like, "You can't do this, father. You need to submit to my will." He's like, "No." And then she's like, "Wham! I'm gonna have a tantrum, and all the children watching will have an example of how not to behave. But since I'm the protagonist, it's actually what they're supposed to do according to this movie propaganda of the devil." So here is Mulan holding Lucifer, light bearer. So she's with Satan, and she sees him. So she has a good intention, but that's not good enough. Hitler had the good intention of preserving the German race. That's not good enough. So she lies about her gender, is a lot of homosexual and so-called transsexual propaganda in Pissney, the truth-phobic Pissney. She steals the armor of her father, joins the army. "Did they send me daughters when I asked for sons?" "Well, actually, they didn't send me. I'm a rebellious bitch." So here she is cheating. Again, Disney is promoting bad behavior by the protagonist and saying, it's alright, because in the end you save China. If you lie about your gender, you're going to save the world. So in the end of this movie, Mulan acts submissive. She acts like she's not the feminazi bitch that she is. And look how attractive a woman looks when she's submissive. Of course, she's his daughter, but still, it's very feminine for a woman to be submissive. So, and by the way, in this movie, there's a subliminal of a sexual nature between these two, but that's a different topic. And so they're like, hey, it's all right. She stole his sword, she stole his stuff, she disgraced him to the utmost, but then she saved China by being a feminazi brat, so it's all right. Except it's not, because similarly, by wars we have acquired greater technology. Does that justify the wars that led to this technology? Not really. The means justify the ends? Not always. I mean, let's say that Mulan was based on a true story entirely, and that it actually happened, that she actually saved China. When she did rebel, there was no guarantee of this happening, and it was against all odds. So, not against all odds, because China has numbers on its side against the Mongols or the Huns or whoever. Anyway, "You deliberately disobeyed me, Simba," says the father figure, who dies because Disney likes dead fathers and dead mothers. So right after he's like, "You disobeyed me," he rewards him for his disobedience by playing with him. Yes, Pissney, show fathers and mothers how not to be parents. Spoil the children. "He that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes." I don't know what betimes means, but I guess that means sometimes, or in the proper times. Why is this the case? Because if you correct them, even though it hurts in the present, you might spare them a horrible future and a horrible eternity. For example, you beat the shit out of them, not beat the shit out of them, but you beat the drugs out of them, and then they stop ruining their lives by being drug addicts, succumbing to peer pressure because they want to fit into their corrupt society so bad, or subculture or whatever. Here is Peter Pan being a thief and an infiltrator and evil, and with his slutty apprentice, not apprentice, was comrade, accomplice is the word I was looking for. "Hey girl, come with me and take this powder that makes you feel high, get high, fly high, and you can have freedom from your parents and their oppression. Do whatever you want. The hell with your mom and the hell with your dad, bitch. Girl. Yeah." Yeah. So then there's the Simpletons propaganda. It's not merely a parody of some families in the United Snakes of Americans, but rather a model for people to emulate, whether they know it or not, subconsciously. What we see does affect us. It influences us. Even if you're against something, for example, let's say you're against bullying, but you see a lot of movies about bullying or whatever. I'm not saying that that's necessarily wrong, but it will make you associate things with bullying. For example, if you see a weak student in a classroom, you might think of how a bully would treat them, and then your mind is warped that way. Even if you don't like to think like a bully, you'll think like a bully. You know what I mean? Because of associations. That's how we. They're just inevitable. Everything has associations. That's how we learn language. That's how. Anyway, I digress. So clearly, this is not how a father should behave. This is not how a son should behave. Brat is his name. Bart is his name, and that's an anagram of brat because the message is he's a brat. It's no secret. But there you go. This is not how you should behave. You should not be a weak parent who lets their child get away with things. If Homer were a decent parent, he would spank his children. They wouldn't be brats by this age. They would be submissive and meek, humble, and have great potential to be, as they say, contributing members of society. You have to be goody two-shoes. You know, if you're holy, that means you have to fight wolves to defend sheep, so you can kick butt even if you're holy. You don't have to be goody two-shoes in that sense. So the Simpsons depict Ned Flanders, a religious guy, who would be a heretic if you will. They depict him as a goody two-shoes, as a pathetic wimp. But, you know, Jesus flipped over tables at the temple. Following the one who did that means you cannot be a wimp. You have to have great courage, and you even have to be violent at times. It depends on context. And anti-family gay is more propaganda. So they depict the fathers in these propaganda shows as incompetent fools, as buffoons, as idiots. I mean, some of their jokes are funny, but if you know the message, it's something that I don't enjoy watching because I know what this is doing to people. It's influencing them to look down on fathers and to treat their fathers like crap. And for fathers to behave like crap too. And look at the testicle chin. This is gay propaganda. There's more. I plan to do a series on gay propaganda in shows that I grew up watching. I didn't know that it was gay propaganda when I was watching it. I'm not saying it's going to make you gay, but it's disgusting. So more disrespect of the father. Now the woman on the right has a penis-shaped haircut. That's gay propaganda. So whenever this guy with his testicles, with his implied penis in his mouth, from the testicles there, going up into his mouth implicitly, or in front of his, or on his face for him to lick implicitly. Whenever he kisses his wife, he's actually kissing a giant penis thing. That's gay propaganda. That's disgusting. How can you watch this, knowing this, and not cringe and want to vomit? Then you have Pinocchio, where he listens to strangers instead of his father. He takes the apple, which is symbolic of the forbidden fruit. This is a motif in Pissney propaganda. This angelic being represents Satan, of course. Witchcraft is consorting with fallen angels, devils. So ghosts, etc., fairies, that represents fallen angels and such. And Pinocchio's a liar, bad example to follow. But the movie says, yeah, you lie, yeah, you become a jackass, but hey, in the end, it all turns out all right. Just go back to your father when you run out of money, and it's all good. So Snow White is a reference to cocaine, which is, I think, white. I haven't tried it, but I think it's white. And there's a forbidden fruit symbolism again. And in Aladdin. So, even Disney tells you, if you take the forbidden fruit, you're going to be Satan's bitch. Do not let your children watch Pissney if you care about them. I watched Pissney, and I wish I never did. I could have done so many better things with my time. But so much of my youth was wasted down the drain, and it can never be recovered.